This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, back in the win column. It's been a long time, but the Edmonton Oilers get it done, and well, here's a couple of things. We'll get the housekeeping notes right out of the way first thing in the video this evening because it's only 7:35 and I'm doing a game review on a weekday. Doesn't get much better than that, especially after an Oilers win. And let me tell you, yeah, I seem pretty excited, but I'm just trying to hype it up for what I'm about to say here, okay? The Oilers would be 14-0 if Mike Smith had started every game and performed the way he did tonight. I mean, it was like looking like maybe for guys that watch the 80s, watching Grant Fuhr stand on his head, but instead of Grant Fuhr doing what he did in the 80s, Grant Fuhr knew how to butterfly and play the modern NHL. That's what it was like watching Mike Smith tonight, in my opinion, just flopping around all over the place, not really making anything look too pretty, but doing the job and getting it done. Hey, we'll take one goal against and a 1.00 GAA for a goaltender, a save percentage that we'll get to in mere moments, and hey, what do you say? 14-0, that sounds pretty good to me if you get that kind of goaltending. Is Mike Smith the answer? After one game? Yes. Am I being a little sarcastic right now? Absolutely. For those of you that don't pick up my sarcasm in videos and think I'm an idiot for what I say, you gotta really relax and read in between the lines sometimes on what I'm saying. But tonight, goaltending performance, good enough to win. And that's saying something because everybody's here lauding how good Matt Murray is. I'm sorry, all those goals scored against Matt Murray, the two of them tonight, he looked awful. You know what? Yeah, he looked great the rest of the game, but those two goals were weak, and they were not pretty goals, right? He leans off his post on the second one by Ennis. I don't know what he's doing on that Draisaitl one, but he's thinking about eating some pizza after the game because he sure wasn't focused on making a save against Draisaitl on that one. About 5 seconds, 6 seconds too late to even react to that one. I know it's milliseconds I'm talking about, but still brutal right there. So don't come at me with this, oh, Matt Murray's the only reason Ottawa had a chance at this game, because clearly, you know what, they lost. They did not have a chance to win this one, especially late in that third period when the Oilers were more or less just toying with them in the offensive zone thanks to guys like, I don't know, Dominic Cahoon, Kyler Yamamoto, and then everybody else on the Oilers deciding to play hockey, and maybe that's where we should begin tonight's post-game review, is the simple fact that if we would have seen this in the Battle of Alberta on Saturday, we would have actually had something to be excited about on the weekend instead of, oh my goodness, I got to post on Facebook that it's minus 35 where I am because it's only minus 34 in the town next to me. But, I mean, that was all we had to look forward to on the weekend because the Oilers, dang, they sucked Saturday night against the Calgary Flames. Not that the Flames were realistically that much better. That game was garbage. I'll stick by that. Everybody sitting here defending that game, you clearly do not have an appetite for what was built up. You were like, oh no, it's going to be COVID hockey, so they're just going to not give a dang. And then tonight, the Oilers just decide, oh, well, Zach Kassian got called out by Dave Tippett, so he might as well do something. What's he going to do? Just fight. Just fight and beat the crap out of Eric Branson, of all people. Okay, good. All's good. Everything's back in the good books with Kassian. Kara, well, he scored in the first period there against the Flames, and then disappeared the rest of the game, and then decides to show up and fight and play with that fourth line gritty style that, yeah, we love Jujhar Khaira for, right? That tonight's game against the Ottawa Senators, yeah, that's the kind of game we want to see Jujhar Khaira play. 100%, that's what we want to see him do. But we don't get that every night, and it's so dang frustrating because Jujhar Khaira, like tonight in that first period against Calgary, oh my goodness, I'd love to take that every single night because the Oilers would be a much more effective team. Not saying that Kassian fighting every night would make a difference, but Jujhar, the way he played on the fourth line tonight, absolutely would make a difference. By the way, that save percentage for Mike Smith this evening, 964. Matt Murray, 941 save percentage. Not pretending like he wasn't good, but the two goals against, he looked awful. Get excited and get the sneezes. That's the way it goes here on Dolynny TV. Anyway, Josh Archibald scored an empty netter to seal this one. Assist to Connor McDavid on that, by the way. But let's take a look through the goal-scoring column this evening where the Oilers scored all the goals. That's another interesting thing. There's a lot of housekeeping to get to in this video. And, well, the fact is there were 4 goals scored in this game. The Oilers scored all of them, even the one against themselves in which Adam Larsson flipped it over and barred down on Mike Smith. And, oh my goodness, what a beautiful goal if it would have been on Matt Murray. Instead, it's on your own goalie and you're down 1-0 just over 5 minutes into the second period. Now, pick it up where Tyson starts watching. The Oilers, they get to work and they're turning over pucks. They're on pucks. They're just dynamite on the ice. And, well, actually, it's a little bit of the kid line, the KYD line, right? Kyler Yamamoto, Leon Draisaitl, Dominic Cahoon, KYD, you get where I'm going? I don't know what to call this line. The second line's what we've traditionally been calling it. But Leon Draisaitl and company, they get going. Dominic Cahoon's got another point. He's up to 5 on the year already. Leon Draisaitl scores, extends his point streak to what now, 10? And the Oilers are tied going into the intermission for the second period in a row. And I mean, okay, right, as we saw that collapse in the third period against Calgary, and their goalie's been good, and we've been creating chances but haven't been finishing. The power play's not been doing much. The power play was 0 for 4. So is it going to be one of those nights? And then, of course, the Sportsnet announcers go out there and, well, the Oilers give up a ton of goals in the third period. But that's with Mikko Koskinen or Stuart Skinner in net, not Mike Smith, who happened to be in net for us in his first start tonight, where the Oilers, despite Ottawa battling back early on in that third period, go to work. And, man, you know what? They took a page from Ottawa's book and just got to work. Just beating guys down, finishing checks, getting pucks turned over, relentless forechecking, whatever hockey terms you want to throw at it, they did it throughout that late half of the second, late half of the third period. That's why the Oilers won a hockey game, is because dang well they showed up tonight, and they dang well deserved to win because they dang well showed up. Let's go. So, who reaps the benefits of that? Well, definitely not Connor McDavid and Jesperi Puljujärvi or Leon Draisaitl and Kyler Yamamoto, who botched the 2-on-1s in the third period. No, it's Tyler Ennis who's like, you know what's a good idea? I'm not going to hesitate here. I'm going to make a pretty play and score my first goal of the season, assisted by, might I add, William Lagesson, and might I add, 17th assist of the year for Leon Draisaitl, who gets it going. Now, all right, here we go. You've got a captain, right? Connor McDavid. He's not captain material, some people say. Well, he passes up an empty net goal, not trying to force it and possibly risk a turnover, to the dead-eye cannon from the red line this season, center ice. Josh Archibald, who has scored from the same exact spot, whether it be on one side of the ice or the other, that's irrelevant, but the same exact spot twice this year into an empty net and done good looking doing it. Well, he gets his third goal of the season, right? 2 out of 3 are empty netters, but the Oilers aren't going to ask how they go in. They're just going to ask if they go in when it's a depth goal. That's the reality of being an Edmonton Oilers fan. I don't care how you view that. It is just the reality, and you got to be happy whenever they go in for a guy not named Draisaitl, McDavid, Yamamoto, or Nugent Hopkins, and you betcha it's Josh Archibald who gets it done for the Oilers this evening to seal it. Empty netter against Ottawa. 2 depth goals, Tyler Ennis and Josh Archibald. Oh, don't forget, 2 depth assists, and the Oilers are off and away 8-8 once again this season, or 7-7, pardon me, 14 points on the year. And if we go over to the standings, alone in 4th place in the division, 7 points out of first, 4 points out of second, and oh might I add, only a point out of being tied for 3rd place against the Winnipeg Jets. Say it ain't so, because I thought the season was over already. My goodness. The more you know, eh? Crazy how things pan out in the span. And no, I just said it. Oh, man, I just upset everybody again. How dare you think the Oilers are on track again after beating Ottawa for the 3rd time in the season? I'm sorry. What would you prefer? Would you prefer the Oilers lose all 3 games to Ottawa just so you can say the Oilers suck? Well, no, you're saying the Oilers suck and you want them to be better, so here's 3 gift-wrapped wins against Ottawa, and you're still complaining because Ottawa bad, so Oilers shouldn't win, because that's just cheap, easy wins. I'm sorry, you got to win them all. You got to go out there and win them all. Like I said, we'd be 14-0 right now if Mike Smith hadn't been the one that was starting all these games and Mikko Koskinen had gotten injured, but heaven forbid we think about that. obviously. I'm playing it up. Hello, right? I'm playing it up. But end of the day is you got to take every win and count it as 2 points no matter how it comes, no matter which way it comes, because at the end of the day, you're going to need as many of those 2 point games, especially not taking it to overtime like we haven't much this season, to get into a playoff spot. Currently, the Oilers, inconveniently to the naysayers, are in a playoff spot. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Mike Smith is here to save the season. Heck yeah.